My name is Dr. Emily CANCUN. I am a certified high-performance coach, business strategist, dentist of 28 plus years, best mom in the world. Please give me a round of applause. This is a great audience. I just flew from Dallas yesterday, speaking at Dental Win-Win, and that audience was a little sleepy. Don't tell them that. I would like to say thank you to Dr. Katie Toe, Dr. Don Ewing, Dr. Teresa Scott, and also Dr. V. Ho. By the way, how was Dr. V's lecture? Yeah. Who would be interested in coming over and visiting her and do a cooking retreat? Raise your hand. No, cooking. You were sleeping when she was talking about the cooking part. Dr. V has a little sign-up sheet. If you think you're interested, go over there and sign your name up so she can reach out and we'll do this retreat this summer, right, Dr. V? Isn't this great to be live again? Yes. So I just designed a high-performance quiz. And if you like, I'd like for you to text. So take out your cell phone. Don't text this word because I changed it a little bit. Text out your cell phone and text the word Action 2021 to 26786. Okay? You can text this one too. This one gives you a different gift, but Action 2021 to 26786, and then you're going to get a link to do a high-performance quiz. High performance is more about numbers and, bottom line. It's about the whole person. So if you take that quiz, it's going to give you an idea of how high performer you are. And I have 3 gifts for a raffle. Unfortunately, I gave out all the raffle tickets yesterday. So the first raffle is a set of business books, Magnetic Marketing, No-Nonsense Dentistry for Dental Peeps, a little notebook, Action to Win, Brendan Bouchard's book, Life's Golden Ticket, and a special little book. So if you text your number and your name, because I'm sorry, I ran out of raffle tickets yesterday, to 626-808-5762, we will randomly draw names later to win the package of books. And I'm giving away 2 group coaching programs for 90 days. Each of them is worth $1,500. So just text your name to 626-808-5762. That's actually my cell phone. And I'll be inviting all of you to come to Miami with me. We have an event coming up in Miami, July 9th and 10th. It's called Action to Win. It's multiple speakers, and we always have a mix of clinical and business management and personal growth. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was actually born in Vietnam back in the late 60s. That was during the Vietnam War. Growing up, I have my mom, my dad, my older brother, 2 younger siblings. We live in an extended family, so we live with our aunts and uncles. Growing up during the war, what I watched on TV every night were bombings, dead bodies, people fleeing villages, and a lot of propaganda. In 1975, actually yesterday was the anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War, April 30th, 1975. That's when the communists took over, and it totally changed lives. There were dark days where we stood in line to get anything that the government was willing to sell to us. Could be stale bread, moldy noodles, old rice. As a kid, I used to stand in one of those lines to get food for my family. 1 year after the communists took over, my mother passed away due to cancer. I was 8 years old. And a couple years after that, Vietnam was going to go to war with China in the north and Cambodia in the West. At this time, they're drafting all the young men to go to war again. My aunt decided that she's going to leave the country. She's going to escape. And I'm a girl. I wasn't going to be drafted. But my dad told me, you're the oldest girl in the family. You need to go help your aunt. So you need to go with your aunt. So I left the country. I left my dad and my 2 younger siblings behind. I went with my brother and my aunt. I was 13 years old, and I never saw him again. How many of you have been on a cruise? A couple? Well, my first cruise was on a fishing boat. It was 60 feet in length with 50 people crammed together, just like sardines. We go in the ocean for 7 days, the first 2 days with food, and the next 5 days with sips of water. How many of you have been to an exotic location like this? Right? Well, my exotic location was a refugee camp in Malaysia with makeshift shelter, limited food, water, and electricity. So we lived there for 3 months. When I came to the United States, my luggage were hope and faith. I remember staying up every night to learn what was being taught to me because I didn't know English. I would translate almost every word from English to Vietnamese so I could understand what was being taught to me. This big blue book in the middle, that's the biggest English-Vietnamese dictionary you could ever find. That's my best friend. And then when I go to school, I would bring the little portable one. Sometimes I would look up words under the table. I used to deliver newspaper back in the day when people were delivering newspaper. So we'd wake up every day at 5:30, deliver the paper, then go to school, rain or shine. I was making a whopping $100 a month. Used to drive an old car. Anybody know what kind of car this is? Everybody's driving a Tesla? This is a Nissan Sentra 1984. And this car has left me on the road when I was driving back from a free clinic back to UCLA. So left me in the road on the freeway. So I'm standing there. There was no cell phone back then. I'm sitting there jumping up and down, trying to wave so somebody would see me. And they finally stopped and towed my car back to a shop close to school. I took my car there, and I knew very well that I didn't have any money to get the car out. Because my scholarship checks and my grant checks, they weren't coming for another 2 weeks. So because of all of that, I was very driven. I finished undergrad in 3 years, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. I still remember the call. Congratulations, you made Phi Beta Kappa from school. And I said, what is it? And how much is it? Because it sounds very expensive, it's a foreign word. So when I went to dental school at UCLA, I finished a master and the DDS in the same 4 years, because I thought I wanted to specialize. It turns out I make a better GP. So I got married, graduated, bought my first dental practice, my second dental practice, my third dental practice. I would start the day in the morning dropping off my kids at school or at the babysitter, and then I would go to work from 9 to 2. Then I would take off from 2 to 4, go pick up my kids. If they were from school, we'd take them back to the babysitter. Sometimes when they were older, they would go to work with me. I would work from 4 to 6, and then go pick them up again, and then go home and get ready for dinner. My husband has a job, he's an engineer. So he'd leave in the morning, and he'd come home in the evening. So I was doing very well. All the practices were growing. And one day, my son, he was in second grade at that time, he came up to me and he said, Mom, next Tuesday at 11:30, I have a recital. I want you to come. It was a recorder recital. Anybody here know the recorder? It's a terrible instrument. So I'm thinking, I gotta go watch this, I'm gonna have to leave work at 11, get there at 11:30, watch this for 30 minutes, then go back to work, then go back to pick up the kids. So I went to my daughter, Jennifer, she's 4 years older than Alan, and I said, Jennifer, I don't remember watching a recorder recital in the middle of the day when you were in second grade. And Jennifer looked at me and she said, Mom, I did have a recital. You just didn't come. And that was like a slap in the face because here I am, I'm thinking I'm doing really well, but I miss a special moment in my daughter's life. And that's when I decided that I need to learn everything, to do everything well and fast, so I could be very productive at work and I will never miss another moment in my kid's life again. I just told you my story, how I came to this country on a boat. What is your boat story? What kind of challenges are you going through? And I share with you my recorder story, the moment when I know I needed to make a change. And what is your recorder story? Are you at that moment where you know you need to make a change? Because if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get, what are you going to get if you keep doing the same thing? The same results, right? Because I believe that to be successful, you need to be a high performer. And you need to have training. High performance is having a heightened and sustained level of clarity, energy, courage, productivity, influence, and necessity. And I believe the way you grow your business is you have to be a high performer. You need to know your metrics. You need to know your marketing. You need to position yourself as an authority. How do people get stress in life? There's lack of clarity. You're trying to do too many things and, you're getting too busy. Lack of support. This is a great group where, if you need the support, you have the support. There's a lack of expectation. There's a gap. You think that you're expecting your staff to do something, but they think something else. Anybody have that problem? Or is it just me? Just me and you. Just the two of us. Anybody ever felt like this? Yesterday? No, just kidding. Because if you're clear, you know that you can step on the gas or you're going to step on the brake, right? Otherwise, if you don't have a GPS, you don't have that clarity, you're going to just keep going in the wrong direction. So the four-step blueprint, I call that CAMP. It's clarity, action driven by results, metrics of your business, and productivity. Clarity is knowing what you want, knowing who you are, knowing the values that are important to you, and knowing how to get to what you want. So I'd like for you to take out your cell phone, and why don't we set up, let's just make it 10:40, okay? I know I'd say 10:30. Do it at 10:40. And I want you to just close your eyes for a moment. Just close your eyes for a moment. And I want you to think of 3 words that describe your ideal self. If it's your best self, what are 3 words that would describe you? If people are talking about you, what do you want them to say? Everybody got 3 words? Yes? Okay, then get out your cell phone, and I want you to go to alarm, and I want you to put those 3 words in the alarm. Okay? Where it says label, put in those 3 words, and then put it at 10:30. And if you need help, you're going to have to go home and ask your kids. And after you set that up at 10:40, then you can just put the phone down. We'll continue. I'll get back to that in just a moment. Okay, everybody got that? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay, so 10:40. Put the 3 words in. So I want to share with you a quick story about clarity. So years ago, I wrote a couple of books. One of them is called From Refugee to Renaissance Woman, which is my story. And the other one is called Commit to Embracing Your Big Life, which was, the foreword was written by my mentor, Sharon Lecter. She's the co-author of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which some of you might have read. So after I wrote these books, my business coach at that time said, "Hey, Emily, do you want to get this message out? You need to speak." And I said, hell no. No, I didn't say that, because I didn't know how to say those words back then. But I said, no, I'm not going to be a speaker. I'm good as a dentist. I talk to one person at a time, and they listen to me the best when I have a needle in my hand. And he said, no, you need to get out and speak. So I've been to a couple of business conferences. One of my friends came up to me and said, Emily, I'm having a conference. I want you to come and share your story. You have 10 minutes. So I said, okay, 10 minutes, can't be that bad. I went home, wrote up a speech, went up and delivered the speech for 10 minutes. And when I got off stage, I thought that was the most terrible idea. Like, who would want to be a speaker? So I said, I'm going to quit, I'm not doing this. But sometimes there's a calling. Sometimes you feel like it's time for you to step up and do the next step. Another friend called me and said, Emily, TEDx in Walnut, California, they're looking for a speaker. And I put your name in. So I got accepted as a speaker, so now I got to work on another speech. And this time, I work on it a little bit harder. I actually had my mentor edit the speech for me. And I practiced in front of my kids who told me, Mom, your pronunciation is wrong, and your accent is wrong, and your grammar is wrong, because when you're nervous, sometimes you speak a little bit differently. So I decided I'm not going to practice in front of them anymore. I'm going to practice in front of stuffed animals that are so much more receptive. And then when the day came, I spoke at TEDx. My kids were in the audience that day. They didn't say that my pronunciation was wrong. They actually had tears in their eyes. So from that, I went and spoke in India, in Australia. I actually went to Egypt, and I have a group of doctors in Egypt put on Action to Win, which is my event. Pacific Dental Conference in Canada. We're working on a program teaching doctors how to do business, and I happen to be the dean and recognized by the Forbes Coaches Council. The reason I'm telling you all this is not to brag. The reason I'm telling you all this is because I'm very clear on what I want to do, right? So I'm going to take all the steps to get to my goal, which is to get out there and share my message. So if you're that clear, it's very easy to get to your goal, and it's easy to say no. When anybody come and invite you to do something and it's not part of your goal, it's easy to say no, and you don't feel guilty, you don't feel regrets, even if they're your best friends. So we're going to do a quick exercise, the clarity exercise. I want you to write down one area in your business that you need more focus right now, but it is to increase your ROI. Okay? One thing, to increase your ROI. ROI is return on investment. So attending this event would increase your ROI because you learn all the systems, all the strategies. If you use CareStack, most likely that will increase your ROI because now it's part of your system. So when you diagnose, you become more efficient. These are things that increase your ROI. But write down one thing, and if you don't know what it is, we don't quite have the clarity yet. And then if you say, this is what I need to do, then what are the 2 steps that you're going to take to get to that? And maybe you're asking yourself, maybe I need some help, maybe I need to talk to somebody. Okay? So I'm here as a resource. I'm going to skip this part real quick. The clarity for your team, a lot of times the doctors will tell me, I'm very clear, I want to do $1 million a year. So that would be $100,000 a month. And then when I come and talk to the staff, they have no idea how to get to $100,000. If we've been doing 80, how do we get to $100,000? Doctor never took us to the training. The doctor never gave us the tip. Sometimes the doctor doesn't even share his or her vision. So it's not just you knowing what you want, you got to share it so other people can support you. The second part of the 4-step blueprint is action. And with action, I'm talking about results-driven actions, actions that are more natural to you, actions that do not cause you stress. And we use the Kobe assessment. Anybody here know the Kobe? Okay, couple of people. Well, the Kobe is a an assessment of 130, I'm just kidding, of 33 questions that you take, and it's going to give you a profile as to what is your mode of action. If I give you a task, how do you approach that task? If I leave you alone and I didn't give you any instructions, what is your natural mode of action when you approach that task? And the Kobe Index have 4 different profiles. The fact finder are the people who want a lot of information, a lot of details. The follow-through are the follow-through. They're going to finish tasks. They're the one that want the agenda, make sure that you've done everything on the agenda. And then you have the quick start. The quick start are the one that make quick decision, take risks. The quick start would probably speak in the morning in Dallas and in the afternoon fly to Cancun. You know, that's a quick start. And the last one are the implementers. The implementers are people who like to work with their hands. So if your dental assistant is scored real high in implementer, that's pretty good. Okay, they're the ones that when they talk, they want props. They show models. There are 3 Kobe index. There's a Kobe A, which is the one that I'm talking about. There's a Kobe B. The Kobe B is the next step assessment that, let's say if you're the doctor and you have your office manager take the Kobe B, you're going to find out what your office manager think her job is, how she should approach her task, and then you find out how you think she should approach the task, and then you see if they actually match. Because sometimes people think that they're supposed to work a certain way, and that's not what you're expecting them to do. The Kobe C is another level up, is where you take the assessment, and then somebody else take the assessment about your position or your job, and we'll see if that's actually match. So the Kobe company, they actually have people that are supposed to go to an executive level, and when they do the Kobe C, what they think they're supposed to do and what the rest of the team think they're supposed to do, they don't match. And they would actually advise the company not to let that person become a CEO. So this is my Kobe, 6473. Any number above a 6, that's your dominant trait, that's your MO, which is mode of action. So, like I said, the quick start would do something like that, right? Go to Egypt and lift up a rock. No, I'm just kidding. That's just the way they take the picture. The fact finder are going to ask a bunch of questions. Want all the details. If you say, let's go to lunch, they're going to say, okay, let's go to restaurant A. It's 3.2 miles away. It has 2,500 reviews. So I think that's where we should go. The quick start would just jump into the car and say, let's go to eat lunch. What do you feel like, right? And then you just make a quick decision. This is the follow-through, the one that organizes everything. Anybody in here follow through? Yeah, we have a couple of hands. Anybody in here think that they're a quick start? Okay, we're going to go have drinks together. Lemonade. Okay, so this is the implementer, the one that like to work with their hands. They like to build models. So the third part of the equation is M. M stands for metrics, and the metrics is also part of your marketing. If you know your metrics, you're going to know how to do your marketing. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions. What is the cost of acquisition for a new patient? And a lot of times, the reason you would know it right off your head is if you already have a number that's what you want, and you just know, am I short, or I already surpassed the number? Does that make sense? I understand it varies, but you have to have a number. Like, this is the number I want to do, right, every hour. And the percentage of case acceptance. Yes? Do we all agree that these numbers are very important? Yes. And how come we don't know them? Any thoughts why we don't know them? What did you say, doctor? Okay, so Dr. Scott said because maybe we don't want to know them. No, I know, but usually there's an average. That's why I was saying this is like average past 6 months. So I'll give you an example. Let's say if you say, I want my average dollar per hour to be $1,000 an hour, right? You can just look at your schedule and you know if you're going to be short for the day, right? Okay, but if you didn't think that it's going to be $1,000 an hour, you can look at your schedule and it just, oh, look pretty good. But what is it? Yeah. So what these numbers mean is if you know them, then you will set out with the intentions. These are the numbers I'm striving for. And then every year you can raise it up if you want. So I'm going to go real quick over customer service. And I know we all know this. I'm challenging you to do this consistently. Okay? Again, we had talked about how much it would cost to acquire a new patient. If you put $1 per hour to the work that you do, then you're going to be very conscious about what am I doing this hour, and am I getting paid for that? Does that make sense? Yes? Raise your hand if that makes sense to you. Okay. So for example, people say, oh yeah, I'm writing these emails for the patients, and then, but it's free, because emails are free. But if you spend 20 minutes writing that email and you want to do $1,000 an hour, that email just costs you $200, right? Or $400, whatever the math is. So the first time the patient encounter you, it could be through radio, through TV, through social media. And if they're not on social media and you want to get a hold of them, you go to their mailbox, the real mailbox, the one where you send a postcard, a newsletter. Because nowadays, not a lot of people are sending out mail, so any mail that you put in there, it will probably stand out for your patients. Yes? Well, that's why we talk about those numbers. How many patients do you have, remember? Like, how many patients are the referrals? Is it 1045? 1040, right. What was the ringing? The 3 words. Who want to share the 3 words? Nobody? Yes, doctor. Authentic, purposeful, and transformation. Does it feel good looking at the 3 words? Yes? So these 3 words are going to remind you to be grounded to the values that are important to you. Imagine you're having a very busy day, and all of a sudden, this thing rings. So you have to go turn it off, and you're looking at your 3 words. And it reminds you to be authentic, transformational, and purposeful. I think that's what she said. So going back to the question that you have, doctor, if you know where your patients are coming from, right? The percentage of referral, for example. So let's say we have a conversation and you say 80% of my patients come from referral because I'm a biological dentist. So, you know, people like chiropractor, holistic doctor, they know me, they refer patients to me, and then my existing patients refer patients to me. And then you come and ask me, should I do direct mail? What do you think is the answer? Yes or no? No, great. So that was a coaching question. Because you already know 80% come from referral. So if you want to grow, you would probably spend more money on the referral, on the people who refer to you. You send them gift, you do an event celebrating them. Do you want to do direct mail? You could, but 80% is like the 80-20 rule, right? So 80% of your patients are coming from referral, so focus on that. If you're going to try direct mail, try it for a little bit, but I wouldn't say, oh yes, doctor, just go ahead and print out 2,000 flyers and let's just start sending them out to this zip code. Does that answer your question? Okay. Any other question? No. Answering the phone, whether it's an old phone, Or a new phone, a cell phone, answering the phone. When people come into your office, how is the greeting? How are people looking at you? Are you busy doing 20 things? I'm in California, so it's still shut down, right? So the patients come in, and they're very surprised seeing Dr. Letran standing in the front, because I got nothing to do. Because we're seeing one patient an hour, and if I finish early, then I'm just standing there. I don't have anything to do. Because when I come into the office, the main focus is to treat the patients. If I'm not going to treat the patients, I should be home, doing something else, or in my office, not standing around. The exam, how are you doing your exam? It's amazing how sometimes patient would just say something like, oh, you're very gentle. Because I would do an exam and the patient said, you're very gentle, and I said, all I did was the exam. I haven't given you a shot, right? But the patient would say, no, but even the way you're pulling my cheek was gentle. So being very intentional, when you say I'm a gentle dentist, it doesn't mean when you give them a shot that you're gentle, right? Everything you do in their mouth should be gentle. Your words could be different because I'm known to be very sarcastic, so they don't expect that from me. When you give the presentation, do you give people options? I know you guys are all working in the blue ocean, right, doing biological dentistry, but still, there should always be options. And then do you give them financing options so they can easily say yes? So do you have that personal touch? This is a picture of me working on patients. In that picture, you see the little kids sitting on top of mom, and then just to keep him or her busy, I just give them the suction, say, hold this for me, help me. Do I like to work like that? Absolutely not. Do I do it? Yes. It's because that's what makes me different. That's what makes me having that personal touch with the patient. So sometimes it's going to be what you do, right, that is a little bit different from somebody else. How do you follow up? Do you send email, automatic email? Do you send text? Do you send this reminder, end of the year reminder? Who send out end of the year reminder to their patients? Oh, the rest of you don't? Okay, because we are insurance free, right? Well, but if the patients have insurance and they get caught in that idea, you can still remind them to come in. My point is, you always make sure that they're returning, right? So one of the company that I work with, it's a marketing company, and they create automatic emails that you send to patients. It's for education. So in marketing, we call that nurturing, because you always be sending information to them so they can be reading and they keep thinking about you. So even though they don't need any work to be done, guess what they're going to say the next time somebody asks them, do you know a dentist? Right? Because you keep reminding them that you're there, that you exist. So when people ask, your name will always come up. And you do that by nurturing. This was one of the quick campaigns that when I started with them that we did. How many emails you send, how many people open the email, how many people request a form. If you were sending out an email, let's say you start on something new, and you tell them, you know, we're just starting this new thing. If you want more information, click here, and they click. Now you know they just raised their hand. I'm actually interested in that also, right? And then you follow up with another sequence of email, and you get them in for treatment. Testimonials and referrals. Doctor, you were just saying, a lot of your patients come from referrals, right? Yeah, keep track of the referrals, get testimonials. Who does video testimonial in the office? I have like 5, 6 hands. What happened to this table? Okay, and that was since? Okay. Okay, and you know the video helps your ranking of your site, right? So use the video. What I do is when the patient just says, oh, that was nice, and they go blah, 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 I just say, wait, hold. And I just go to my office, take my phone out, just repeat that again, right? Whatever they just said, I don't tell them to try to pose for it and try to prep for it. Whatever you just said, just say that. I tell you a quick story. I have a patient, he's in his 90s, and I gave him a shot. Then I went to the next room. This is before COVID. We have like open bay. And I could hear him, "Where's Dr. Letran?" And I could hear the staff say, "She's next door. Don't tell her this, because her head will get real big." But that shot did not hurt. So sometimes I don't ask for a video, right? Because I don't think he's going to give me that video. But you get these feedbacks. Now, if he were to give me a testimonial, I would tell him, just say that, just repeat that, right? The same face expression, the same way he is, just repeat it, very authentic. There was one time when somebody just said something, yelling at me or something like that, and then the next patient came in and he goes, "Well, you don't look very happy." An older gentleman, and I said, "Yeah, somebody just yelled at me about something about fees." And he goes, "Don't worry. You're good the way you are." So I took a piece of paper and I gave it to the gentleman. "Just write that down." And he wrote down, "You're okay just the way you are," and signed his name. And we put it on the wall. So this is the walls in the office. There the one is, "You are okay." Oh, you are okay no matter what they say. That's what he actually wrote right over here. So we have the wall, we put on handwritten testimonials, we put on plaques of community services. So when people walk through the door, they already know me. I don't have to tell people about things, right? These things speak for themselves. I don't have any expensive artwork on my wall. It's not design, whatever. I put on what is going to work for marketing. This picture over here, that's the other one of the other office. This gentleman, every year he comes in, he said, "Dr. Letran, it's time to donate." And it's for it was like a soccer team, then it went to a baseball team, then it was to a football team, something like that. And at the end of the season, he would come in with a plaque. And I would give him a nail and a hammer, and I would tell him, "Go put it up, wherever you want." And you know what's funny is his grandkid, he's not even my patient. And I've been supporting that team forever. So it's important to recognize what's important to your patients, and then you support what is important to your patients. And that's what makes you different. You let patients know that you're doing things besides your dental office. That you're a leader, that you're an author, that you get featured in magazine. When you send out a newsletter, anybody here send out a newsletter? I already told you you can't participate, Francis. And it could be digital, okay? But please, do not send out a boring newsletter about teeth. Because I won't even want to read a newsletter about teeth, and I'm a dentist. Send out something funny. Send out something that people look forward to. This is an old newsletter that I have, that I took a picture of. Happened to be in May, so it's Mother's Day. Right on top, it says Happy Mommy's Day. Got pictures of my kids, little, toddler, elementary school. What I do, if mom goes to Cancun to speak, it's going to be in there. So what does that mean? Well, people say, "Oh, she went to Cancun to speak," or maybe she went to Vegas for a class. What's showing the patients that I'm learning, right? That I'm continuing improving myself, and that implies that I'm going to give better service. And then in the newsletter, put in something fun. Welcome the new patients. You put the first name and first initial. You just welcome new patients. If you have an orthodontic practice, congratulations to people who finish ortho. People love to see their names in publications, right? Guess what? You're creating your own publication. You can do whatever you want. And I'm not saying the whole thing has to be customized. Just make one page of it customized, and that's the page that shows your personality. Who's going to go back and try to do this? Okay, we got participation from this table now. And the reason I told you all that, okay, is because that's how you keep a patient for a long time. And if a patient stays with you for a long time, they're going to spend more money with you, yes? Yes? No? You hope so, right? And you build that relationship. This is how you say, we've been serving the community for 24 years, 26 years, whatever it is. And you have patients like this. These are two young ladies who've been with me. I think I forgot to change. That should be 24 years. They've been with me since 1997 when I bought my first practice. I was hoping one of them would leave, but she wouldn't. She's still there. Every time she comes in, she'll be yelling and complaining about something. And one time she missed a checkup. And when we called her to come in, she got in with her walker, and she said, "Don't look so surprised. You think I'm dead?" And we're like, "No, we didn't say that. No." Being productive is all about intentions. Stephen Covey says, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. When you do a huddle in the morning, that's setting your intentions, right? What are we going to do today? How many people in here do a huddle in the morning? Pretty much everyone? Okay. So you set the intention for your office. How many people suffer from the weapons of mass distraction? Anybody? Anybody go on the web and then all of a sudden you're on Amazon? No? Just me and Dr. Scott, proudly raising a hand. Right? So you let the computer control you. And you shouldn't. If you're going to go online and you're going to look for something, give yourself a time. I'm going to be online for 10 minutes to look up CareStack, for example. After 10 minutes, if CareStack is there, you probably have found it already. Yes? But don't go CareStack and say, "Oh, then there's this marketing thing." Then you click to the marketing thing. The next thing you know, you're on there for 30 minutes. People tell me all the time, "I don't have time." And I say, "Well, why not?" "Well, I'm very busy." I used to have an associate who bought a practice, and she always busy. And I told her, "You have one practice, I have 3. You have no kid, I have 3. And I've been doing this for 24 years, and I have time, but you don't." It's because you're not setting the right time for the right activities, and you're focusing on the wrong thing. So I took a screenshot of my phone one day, and you can see on the left side there, it's blank. It's Chinese New Year. We schedule nothing, right? Anything that is on the calendar is most likely important. And if it's not on the calendar, it probably wasn't important. So if you're not on my calendar and you want to talk, you're going to have to book an appointment. Or a sales rep, somebody who want to talk to me, they need to be on my calendar for me to talk to them. It's okay if the calendar is blank sometime, because you also need to have nothing to do, to rest, right? Give yourself time to do nothing, to have some blank space on your calendar. It helps you recharge. I'd like for all of you to take a picture of this. It says 5 minutes. And what it means is, if you're going to do something and you think it takes an hour, and you say to yourself, "I'm going to try to do it in 55 minutes. If you save 5 minutes an hour, you work 8 hours a day, that means you save 40 minutes. If you work 40 hours a week, you just take that 40 minutes times, and when you look at the bottom, If you actually are saving 5 minutes per hour when you're working, you will end up saving 4 weeks a year. All of a sudden, you have 4 weeks extra. Who wants to have 4 weeks extra, 1 month? Just this table, right? Wait, because who thinks that they can shave up 5 minutes in an hour if they get real intentional? Right? Yeah, we can all do it if we set our mind to it, and that's the whole thing about having the intention and being productive. How many people have a to-do list? How many people do everything on the list? Not to-do list? Something that you shouldn't do, something that you should delegate. So if you want to achieve more, you need to shrink the size of your butt. B-U-T, B-U-T. Read the slide. Okay? We're going to have a productivity exercise. I want you to write down 2 things that distract you from getting things done. Whatever you want. High performance is about business and personal life. So somebody said kids. I don't think the kids are at yeah, you can't get rid of them, you can't return them. But I will tell you right now, the best thing that happened to me during COVID is I was psyching myself up to be an empty nester. And I was so happy that the kids are stuck at home because I wasn't ready. So my youngest was supposed to go to UCLA, and he has to be home. He's just doing virtual schooling, so I'm super happy. I do watch a lot more TV because he's home. So we're watching all these crime things together and guessing what's going to be next. So 2 things that you can eliminate, 2 distractions to get more things done. Somebody want to share? Yes? Good, because other people's emergencies are not our emergencies, right? And a lot of time we think that it's our emergency. So when somebody calls and says an emergency, we tell them, have you been in 6 months? In the last 6 months? No, then it's not my emergency. I'll give you an appointment. If you have pain, it's hurting. Do you have swelling or bleeding? If not, it's not an emergency. Take a pill. No, I'm just kidding. So we don't have to try to fit them in the schedule and get real stressful. Anybody ever feel like this on the right-hand side? Too many things to do, frustrated, confusing? Because when you work with somebody who can help you untangle that, all of a sudden everything is clear, right? That would be a coach, a mentor, consultant, somebody who has done what you want to do, you're trying to do. They're going to help you fast-track that. So, my journey to get here has always been with mentors. 2 of my mentors are my coach, Brendan Bouchard, and Sharon Lecter. I mentioned earlier, Sharon Lecter is the co-author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I want to invite you to talk to me. Come talk to me about your business challenge, something you want to solve. I want to invite you to come to Cancun at Action to Win. It's going to be July 9th and 10th. Because I think the more we are on that track for self-improvement and to improve your business, and it could be systems, and a lot of time it's marketing to grow your business, the better we will be. Anybody here heard of the expression, you are the average of the 5 people you hang around with? Anybody heard that? Okay. Well, that's actually, I don't remember who said it, but it's very true. You are the average of the 5 people you hang around with. If you hang around with 5 broke people, you're going to be number 6. But, that saying, it doesn't work with height. Because I've been working on this very, very long, very, very intentionally, and it hasn't worked. However, You can leverage. You can stand on a chair, stand on a bench, stand on a Jeep. You can always improve, leverage, and get better. Yes, sir. Yes. That was Chris Griffin speaking at one of my events, Action to Win in Florida. This gentleman here is actually a Speaker Hall of Fame, Dan Clark. And then Dr. David Phelps over there, he also spoke at Action to Win yesterday, so I updated the picture. I told him we look more mature, so we need a new one. So I took a picture with him and Stephen Martner. And of course, I'm on the chair. So, any questions? Yes.
How many days a week do you practice so that you can coach and travel?
I practice 4 days a week. I have a lot of clients that are actually on a different time zone, so it actually worked out well for me because they're already starting and I'm not. I'm in bed. Like they're 2-3 hours ahead. And I said, we schedule just like you scheduling patient. I schedule those coaching calls, right? And I tell my clients this coaching call. Sometimes it feels like the client is the patient because they no-show. They come into the call late. So that's part of being consistent and being very intentional. Well, I thank you very much for your attention. I wish you much success, and may the floss be with you.